and we've got to, handle those things. It's not going to be perfect. Those guys aren't going to be perfect. We're not perfect. But I think we lost some time with, with that frustration. So that's just something we're talking about. We're growing.
What's even more bizarre than Caitlin Clark's three-pointers is that she was given a technical penalty for getting too excited to make one. Passion has been a punishment since when? I promise you it gets more bizarre as we go deeper into the strange world of WNBA refining. You believe it was a bad decision to elbow someone in the face. Wait until you learn what happened next. The hit isn't the only thing that counts. An equally significant scandal that is roiling the entire league was sparked by the official's decision. When you think about this, Caitlin Clark, the newest star to come out of the Women's National Basketball Association, is driving to the basket right now. Do you really think she can't be stopped? That isn't accurate, just suddenly one of her elbows touches her face. It's as clear as ever everyone in the arena could see it. You could think it's an easy choice, wouldn't you? However, this is where things start to spiral out of control. Instead of calling a foul, the referees hit her with an aggressive foul. On Clark. We simply need to make sure that we don't let outside factors that are beyond our control impact us. For example, I believe she was fouled and missed those 2 free throws, and she occasionally became irate with the officiating. However, that's where we need to improve who was supposed to get it. It's accurate. Yes, you heard properly. She gets struck in the face by an elbow, and regrettably, she is punished in a way that I find totally unfathomable. The players are in a state of astonishment as the crowd goes completely insane. The question that everyone is asking is the same on social media. Even now, what game are they watching? By the way, check out the replay. An obvious indication that the elbow connection is present. This does not even quite qualify as an offensive foul, but later on in the game, it isn't the end of it. Clark is hit again, but the refs don't call anything at the start of this incident. It isn't until the fourth quarter that they review the situation and decide it is a flagrant foul. We refer to that as inconsistency. But in this instance, you know what's even more crazy? Since the start of the season, Clark has endured this type of torment, so it is not an isolated incident. She frequently gets hit, shoved, and held while playing games. Just that first quarter, and we can't let that get to us too much. You are familiar with the officials. Let me deal with the officials. Additionally, she is the one who ultimately receives the derogatory remark directed at her. Furthermore, Clark will not keep quiet about it. Since it seems like the referees are working against her, it's difficult to blame her for feeling frustrated. Despite the fact that, in her own words, she is putting her all out there during games, she is getting a lot of contact, which has led to some calls that are very unexpected. It is exposing a more serious problem within the WNBA community. What occurred with the elbow is just the beginning. We are currently observing a pattern here. One of the most well-known players in the league has been the target of a history of unfair treatment. Consider this if the referees are unable to make the right call for a public figure like Clark. What is happening with the league's other teams? Subsequently, she emerged during the second half and she was a different player when she let it go. The deep triples from the first quarter simply cannot be repeated again in the second quarter. This is a serious issue that raises concerns about the caliber of refereeing in women's basketball. But here's the thing, another way to say it is that this debate isn't only hurting Clark. Everyone is sharing their thoughts, from players to fans to analysts, and it is bringing attention to issues that have been brewing for a while. They are requesting that all players be treated equally, that the officiating be improved, and that there be more consistency. While their proposal is tempting, the catch is this: what if being a well-known athlete really makes you a target? The situation that concerns Caitlin Clark highlights a contradiction that is upending the Women's National Basketball Association from the ground up. In this case, there is more to it than just one game or one bad choice. We are talking about a trend that is making some individuals, including supporters, athletes, and even commentators, raise their eyebrows. Let's take a closer look at it. Since the start of the season, Clark has had to deal with a lot of calls that are highly suspicious when discussing missed calls. Though this is not the same, we are not talking about the sporadic events that happen to everyone. Every time Clark steps onto the court, it seems like the referees are watching her through a magnifying glass. Think about it, Clark is playing the game with all of her heart and soul. However, instead of applauding her passion of competition, the referees are penalizing her with technical penalties for showing emotion. At the same time, can you trust that? This is where things start to become very crazy, even though it appears like they are trying to put out the exact spark that makes her such a great player. Given that Clark has gained such widespread recognition as a celebrity, some people think she has a target on her back. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? Pay attention to what I'm saying. It almost seems as though her success is causing her to fail. The referees seem to be more attentive to her every move if she is the center of attention. She creates, but what's even more crazy? Among the arguments currently being debated is the notion that Clark's celebrity position is actually influencing the referees to render harsher rulings against her. It almost seems like they are trying to show that they are not favoring anyone in particular by doing this, but their actions might be pushing them too far in the other direction. To be clear, I'm not saying that there's a grand conspiracy to bring Caitlin Clark down, but you have to acknowledge that something fishy is happening right now. It's not just about Clark anymore. All of this is highlighting some of the more serious issues that the WNBA is facing. Many serious questions have been raised regarding the general quality of the officiating that is being done, so consider what type of treatment the referees are providing to other players if they are treating one of the league's biggest stars in this way. Are there other players who are also receiving unjust treatment? Is this a long-standing issue that we have only now become aware of due to Clark's notoriety? But this is the real game changer. Clark had no intention of disclosing all of this material first. To put it simply, she is out there trying to play her game and trying to help her team win. But because of all of these calls that bring up specific issues, by doing this, she has unintentionally become a whistleblower, bringing attention to problems that have probably been simmering beneath the surface for a while. What more is there to say? It's absolutely amazing to learn that Clark is making waves in the Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, without meaning to, since people are talking about her asking questions and urging her to recover. She is starting to influence the league as a whole, and it seems like she is more than simply a celebrity now. It is true that Clark is creating a commotion on the court as she is playing, but it is not even the most crazy part of the scenario. If I told you that all of this controversy is actually making her more powerful, how would you respond? There is a secret around Clark's success that no one discusses, and it is fundamentally changing everything. Wouldn't you think that all of these unfair calls would be messing with Clark's head? False. When everyone else is freaking out over the referees, the girl in issue has steely nerves. Clark has only one goal in mind: winning. Consider this: Clark is at the free throw line at a crucial juncture in the game. And consequently of the prior incorrect call, the audience is becoming very upset. This woman is as cool as a cucumber in contrast to Clark. Her thoughts on the matter are as follows: all I can think about is that I have to make these 2 free throws. That's the only thing on my mind. We refer to this as mental toughness. However, things start to get extremely fascinating at this point. Clark is not in any way ignoring these bad choices. She is using them as fuel. Every time the refs make a call that raises some important issues, it seems like Clark takes things to the next level. She no longer only competes with the other side. Instead, she is up against the system as a whole and winning. You know what's even more crazy, though? Clark's viewpoint is becoming more popular. Her teammates are enjoying the thrills she radiates. Clark's team is uniting during a period when most teams would be arguing with the refs and disintegrating. They are playing with greater vigor, intelligence, and cohesion than they have ever displayed. Do you mean the fans? It's really popular among them. Clark is turning into a hero in every way as a result of her perseverance. Simply wearing her shirt is no longer sufficient for kids and fans. Additionally, they are copying her drive and focus. In addition to becoming a basketball legend, she is also emerging as a role model for overcoming obstacles. What impact does this have on the WNBA, or Women's National Basketball Association? Clark is changing not just her own performance, but also the league's overall conduct. Her ability to remain composed under extreme strain must keep up your outstanding performance in spite of all the drama. It is setting a new standard. Your memories of the game against the Dallas Wings are still vivid. Clark not only played exceptionally well, but she also broke the record for rookie scoring with 35 points, a career high. Some of the officiating choices made during this time raised serious concerns. Here we're discussing basketball legends. That's not just amazing basketball. It's also important to remember that Clark is not acting in this way for personal gain. Whenever she speaks to the media, she constantly mentions her teammates. She is sharing the glory and diverting attention in another direction. Clark is a prime example of what it means to be a real leader. The real game changer, though, is Clark's capacity to handle all of this attention in a world where superstars regularly let their own enthusiasm get the better of them. She is using her position to raise awareness of more serious issues inside the league rather than just airing her grievances with the referees. As she becomes a voice for change, people are listening to what she has to say. Consider how Clark manages to perform at such a high level in spite of being under such close monitoring. Raises concerns about her potential. How does this suggest that there is a great deal of promise for women's basketball in general?